Okay, the 37 I'm going to show you today and fit a decoder to is this Bachmann release in BR Blue with the split head code domino boxes there. And the Bachmann code for this is 32-781B, and it's a current release from Bachmann. It has the kind of cowling going round by the buffers on the nose bit you probably see there. That has knock-on effects to the actual design of the Bachmann model. This model does not have sprung buffers because of that cowling around the buffer area. Now, do you really need spring buffers? No. But do you get used to them? Yes. However, I can see what they've had to do here with regard to the design, so some compromises have had to be made. It does actually make getting the body off a lot easier for when fitting a decoder, which you'll see shortly. Other than that, it's a very good looking Bachmann product, really nice shade of blue and well finished throughout, and the running number for this is 37041. Okay, let's see if we can get into this loco and fit the decoder, and I'll take you through the steps that I do to achieve that. Right, before I get set on taking the loco's body off, I use the PL70 servicing cradle from Pico. It's got the little supports here for supporting the loco as you cradle it. And if you've got a thinner loco or engaged loco, this little bit of foam comes in handy as well. I just tend to leave it in there. Turn the loco upside down. Now, there are two screws, main screws there and there. And there's two here and two at the opposite end. The two in the middle are easy to get out. Okay, crosshead screws. Loosen those two. Before I go any further, I'll just tip them out there so I know that I've got those two removed and place them to the side. Now, the ones that are at the front corners, you've got to tilt the bogey out of the way, and it's located there. Now, in some occasions the sprung buffer gets in the way of the screwdriver, so you've got to go for a thinner screwdriver. This one seems to be fine, and either pick them out with your fingers or loosen them, then let gravity by tipping the loco out the other way. Now, there we go. It's as easy as that. I'll do the other end and I'll show you removing the body. That's all 6 of the screws now removed. It differs slightly from the class 47 from Bachmann in that the 2 screws that hold the nose area on are chrome finished silver. In this case, all 6 screws on the 37 are the black kind of Japan finish. Taking the body off on the 37 is easy. There are no clips around the windows and cab doors. Simple case of easing it off, like so. Once you've removed all 6 screws, it's a very simple process of removing the body. You just hold it in both hands and ease it apart. There are no clips under the cab windows like the class 47 to get in your way or to make the job a pain. It's very easy to remove. And then you're left with the circuit board and the blanking chip. This will allow you to run it DC. However, in order to get it on the DCC track, you have to fit an appropriate 21 pin decoder. The decoder I choose for this job is the Bachmann 36557. It's a good value decoder. It's not too expensive, too fancy, but then again it's not too cheap, and it does give good running of the loco, so it's a kind of go-to decoder for me for my 21 pin locos. To remove the blanking chip, finger under each side and just ease it. You do not want to force this, and they can be quite tough, as this one is proving, to remove. Okay, so just ease it to kind of loosen it to start with, and then just pull it off. There are 21 pins here. At the top corner there is one missing. That then relates to the decoder. You see the top left there, there's a blanked out chip port. So that lines up with that one. Get it in position with all 21 pins and then just ease it down onto the pins so that the pins come to be flush with the top of the decoder. Okay, then you know you've got it in place, and it should be sitting nice and flat on top of the pins. Before you go any further, test this loco with its body off on your DCC rolling road or even just a layout. Because the decoder is set at a default setting of address number 3, just set your controller to manoeuvre number 3 and you're going to be able to move the train around the track. You can't test the lights on a Bachmann Class 37 with the body off because the pickups for the cab lights are here and the pickups for the nose lights and the head and tail lamps are down here. This is quite an old tooling from Bachmann. It's an older chassis and it requires the copper pickups which are in the nose there, and on top of the cab, you see behind the bulkhead there, you'll see 2 copper kind of pins. They are the pickups for the lighting. So test it without the body on first until you're happy, and then you can put the body on to test the lights. When you're putting the screws back into a 37, you've got to make sure these 2 nose screws are put in at each end. If you don't do that, the plastic part of the chassis isn't drawn into the body cover and it could look quite odd. I know this one's got the kind of cowling around the corners here, but the ones that are with the cutaway section of the nose, they can look a wee bit odd if you've not screwed the nose screws back in place correctly. So just be careful with that. So the hardest bit here is getting them in. You can use a pair of small pincers or pliers just to locate the screw. Once it's in the hole, hold the bogie out the way and screw it in. Again, when I tighten it, not too tight, then I just make a quarter turn back anti-clockwise to kind of just loosen it a touch, so you're not, you don't want to start stripping the actual plastic bit in the body that locates the screw. So that's it, all the screws are now in place, and it's a case of testing it on the layout to check the lights are working. Okay, that's the 37 now DCC fitted. You can run it like that on the layout. However, before I let it into service at Dean Park, what I'll do is I'll change the CV3, which is the acceleration, from its default setting to a setting of 100. I'll change the CV4, which is deceleration, from its default setting to a setting of 50. I'll also change the speed steps from 14 to 128. This just allows more realistic and smoother running of the loco. I can also fit some buffer beam detail. However, the buffer beam detail on a Class 37 from Bachmann isn't the greatest. You get a snow plough, you get a coupler, you get an air brake hose, and you get an MU jumper cable, which tends to foul the coupler anyway. So what you have to do is remove the tension lock coupler from the end you wish to put the detail on. As I say, it's not the greatest loco for additional detail. You can drill holes in the buffer beam and fit some more hose pipes that you've maybe left over from other locals if you wish to super detail it.